Welcome to Rhythm of Love, the podcast. I'm Clarence.
And I'm Yalonda. We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary by writing a book together about what it took to get us here.
And in this podcast, we go deeper and break down what we learned along the way. We hope you enjoy and engage.
Comment, share, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say about what it takes to make relationships last.
Yes, we will.
Welcome, everybody, to the Rhythm of Love, the podcast.
Episode
4.
Episode 4. Y'all have to excuse me. We have lots of things going on during the week, and I lose track of stuff, especially stuff like
what number episode
we on.
No, I mean, you pegged it. You were right on it.
I mean, I have streamed 3 times this week. I have grocery shopped and washed clothes and any number of things. So the episode numbers have escaped me.
It didn't, though. You're saying that, but it didn't. So, I think you have a little piece of lint at the top of your mic. Yes. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Job, Daddy.
Job. All right.
Well, that was an inside joke. Nobody would get that.
Nobody gets that. Miss Elizabeth will get that.
Yes.
When she watches Miss Elizabeth,
nobody knows who Miss Elizabeth is.
That one was for you.
Job. One day we'll tell you what that means, I guess.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. All right. So, without any real further ado, we talk about our book, Welcome to the Rhythm of Love, the podcast where we discuss our book.
I don't have to hold it up anymore because it's right behind me.
That's fine. It is right behind you.
It's right beside my feet.
I'll do what she does. It's usually her doing this. The podcast.
The Rhythm of Love.
Where we discuss the topics that we put in our book, The Rhythm of Love, 25 things that 25 years of marriage have taught us. So that's kind of the basis of where we are, but it's not always where we end up. It's been so much going on in the internet world this week. All the diss tracks that have been dropped by Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
It's been Black Twitter been going crazy. My second home. It's been going crazy. So,
it's been fun though.
But you know what I have realized by watching and listening to all this stuff?
What?
I'm old. That's what I have come to the conclusion of.
I don't know how many things have to point to you being old before you just accept.
No.
And not old, just,
busy. Out of touch with what.
Seasoned. And right.
Out of touch with these. I listen to the song and I'm saying, okay. It's a new diss track. I want to check it out. I'm listening and he's dissing and I have no idea what he's talking about. I hear all of the words. I hear all of the phrases. I don't know the references. I don't know to what he is referencing.
And see, if you follow my methodology as a researcher, I already know that I'm not going to know the references. Wow. So before I even listened to the song, the actual first thing I did was go to jeans.com and look at what people were saying were the references behind the lyrics. So then when I listen, I can be like, oh yeah, he got him right there.
He got him right there. I just called Nathan.
That's old people behavior as well.
I just called my son and said, he didn't answer though. But let me tell you how he did me. He didn't answer, but then he called his mom.
It said, we got to talk about these diss tracks.
Never included me in the conversation at all.
I'm sorry. I could have included you, but he called while I was getting dressed for my party today. So
I ended up having to go to
you could have come in the bathroom with us.
Strangers.
You went to random strangers on Twitter
to say, can you explain this reference to me?
Hey, did you really?
For certain parts.
Wow. It is just like at home, so hey.
Yeah.
Go to your people.
They answered.
Really?
Yeah.
Who answered?
do you mean who answered? Some woman on Twitter.
Oh, okay. So random people.
You just said that. That was my first thing.
I don't know. I feel like
random people on Twitter.
Because when I get on Twitter, random people don't pay attention to me. So I'm like, what? People answer your questions on Twitter. And my weight is so low. I'm a welterweight on Twitter.
So that's, Cat Williams started this year off, and then it's just been a floodgate.
It's just been what a year.
I mean,
the celebrities are going off on each other.
Cat Williams, Monique on Shannon Sharp.
And I mean, three-quarters of the things are on Shannon Sharp show.
Not three-quarters, but plenty. Puff Daddy going crazy and turning into what I was going to say was turning into a felon on the run, like a person on the run.
Yeah.
That's not what I don't know about his other activities, but scandalous activities.
Certainly been enough accusations.
Potential scandalous accusations. Okay, we'll call it that. So, and now we got the
don't forget Amanda Seales in between.
Amanda Seales, and now we got what might be the greatest beef battle ever put out. I mean,
I can't say it's the greatest beef because I don't know enough about all the beefs, but I know when Drake drops at 9 p.m. and Kendrick drops at 9:30 p.m. That's crazy.
Yeah, so
that's wild.
It's something else.
He was very ready,
and it's May the 2nd.
Yes, Ed has made another one while I was at my party.
Yeah,
Shorty said, "You know what? I got more to say. I'm not even going to wait for you to drop another one. I got more to say."
Not even halfway through the year.
I
just can't even imagine what the rest of the year. This might be the last year on Earth. This might be the very last year on
for
Earth.
Celebrities.
For
I think
everybody.
celebrities are getting it.
It's just.
You know what? Really, what I want to happen is for Trump to go to jail.
That's on my bingo
that
card.
means everything else was worth it. Everything else that has happened was worth it.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would say I don't wish jail on anybody. He would be the closest person that I might wish. There's some other people on the list. Puff Daddy is not off that list. If he's done even half of the things that he's been accused of, then jail it must be. But I just don't want him to become president. So and we're not a political show, but I really, really don't want him to become president.
I've been watching the expats on HGTV to figure out how to move to a different country.
I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube of people who have lived in places. Costa Rica, most recently. And a black woman living in Costa Rica saying, it's great, come on down.
I saw a 4-bedroom house in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, which used to be Saigon. $1,000 a month.
A who, what? A 4-bedroom
house? House.
Wow.
In Saigon. So in the capital of Vietnam.
Ho Chi Minh City.
Ho Chi Minh City. So it's out there.
I don't think I would have a problem living in Southeast Asia.
I don't think I want to go to Southeast Asia, but
I don't know. We had such a good time in Bangkok, though. And we'll be closer to Bangkok. You just go to Thailand every now and then.
We go to Bangkok. I'm not sure I want to go to Ho Chi Minh City, but Bangkok.
Really?
Bangkok. I can.
They didn't show you around the city on the video?
No. Just show you the thing.
All right. Well, we got to start looking at some places.
So, as we are off topic.
Way off.
Way off topic.
So far off. But this is how we talk. We just shoot the willy bobo, as someone we know used to say all the time.
All the time. So way off topic. Well, okay. So let's get to a real topic.
Relationship topic.
A relationship topic.
Okay. Or is it a relationship topic? Or is it a?
We could just talk about this relationship topic.
Okay. All right.
It deals with some of the aspects of a couple of chapters in our book, which talks about, whether people should prescribe to gender roles in their marriages.
Okay. That's what you were hinting at when you were like, I did laundry, I did grocery shopping.
Exactly. So whether you should prescribe to those things. And we have a chapter in our book where we talk about the swinging pendulum of relationships, where people are giving a little bit of this and giving a little bit of that. And we have a chapter where we talk about working together, and we have a chapter where we talk about leaning into your strengths.
Yes.
I think that's chapter 2. So we'll use that one and talk. Let's see what the name of it is, because I don't always remember the titles of the chapters. I believe it's called Pick Up the Pieces.
Pick Up the Pieces.
But I could be wrong, but let me verify that I'm right. Pick up the pieces. So, and basically the point of it is, rather than leaning into the point of it is that we have to understand each other's strengths and ascribe to them. Let that person actually
do the thing that they do best. Yes.
So
regardless of whether traditionally that is a role that the man or the woman takes or whatever.
Because legitimately, we are right in the middle of something that you called this the other, and I realized I thought you actually came up with the name, and I thought it was a great name, but I have since learned that it's not, that you didn't come up with it, which is gender wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that if you notice on Twitter and if you notice on all these things, there's all of these social media, there's all of these people getting on stage. Usually it's unmarried people, which I think is hilarious to me.
Hilarious. Who got all this relationship advice.
Which is fine. But
yeah, you have experience in something. You have experience in maybe relationships that didn't work out, and now you know why. So you could tell everybody about that.
It's
or didn't.
It's like sports commentators for people who didn't actually play the game.
Actually play.
Right.
Yes.
Or played and got to a certain point and are not playing anymore. So so those kind of people tend to have not the greatest perspective always. They got good perspective on some things, but they don't have perspective on all things.
Right. And they can have perspective on getting going in a like meeting someone, choosing someone to be with, who to date, how to date, what to look for in a partner that you may want to be exclusive with for a certain amount of time. But when you're talking about trying to have a relationship that goes the distance, it's hard to really speak on that if you haven't been in a relationship that has.
And I applaud them. They have rooms full of people.
Full of single people, probably. It's a lot of single people out there.
Trying to figure that out. So what I'll tell you is, and we talk about this in the chapter, and I want you to chime in, which is identifying strengths. So what do you think your strengths are? And I'm going to tell you what I think your strengths are.
As far as in our relationship?
In our relationship. But it's beyond in our relationship, because it's really your strengths, whether you're in the relationship or not.
Okay.
But then
they can be applied to the relationship. I think that I have the strength of focusing in on the details that it takes to, complete a task or to, I don't know. I'm detail oriented. Let's put it like that. I feel like I'm on a job interview.
Yes, you are.
Yikes.
Yes, you are.
Thankfully, I already got the job.
There's so many things you might, for now.
Boy.
For now.
Don't
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to get rid of you or nothing like that. I'm not trying to get rid of you. But we could reassign you to some other parts of the job if we have to. So what do you think your strengths are?
That's my one strength.
You got more.
I'm detail oriented.
You don't have no more strengths.
I'm done. I'm cleaned out. Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about myself and things that are good about myself. That is not my strength.
That is not your strength.
No.
So let's turn
take
that
a
over
look
and
at myself.
Modesty is your strength.
Hey, listen to that. Listen to him giving me resume tips,
modesty,
interview tips.
I consider myself to be a modest person. That's a way to describe what you just said.
Another strength that I think that I have is that I can roll with whatever the situation is. Like, that things can come at me, and even though they bother me even a lot, I can not get past it, but move in a way that seems like I'm past it.
Okay.
Like I can just roll and, either I'll get a chance to deal with the problem a little bit later in detail, or, we'll find a solution along the way. But I don't, let things that get in my way necessarily stop me. It might slow me down, but I still can move forward.
So I'm going to answer the same question.
Oh, because we finished with my strengths? That was 3.
Unless you got more. I got time if you got time.
I mean, I didn't know I was going to be asked this question, but we can go back and forth. We can go back and forth because one is not coming to mind immediately. But I do like to clean and keep a clean home. I do like to organize, and
she never met a box that she didn't like. I wouldn't call it a box. A container.
Yes, there's always a container for something.
We go to the container store. We go to container stores like heaven.
Yes.
It's almost like,
So to the point where I'm like looking at containers, like, what can I put in here?
Right. What can I put in there?
Instead of saying, I have this, I need a container for it. Sometimes I'm in the container store, like, that's just a good container. I'm sure I'll find something to put in it when I get it home.
Right. So we're working backwards over there. We find places to put the container.
I try to resist. I try to resist that urge.
Shout out
as
to
much
the
as possible.
Store. You can sponsor us if you'd like.
Yes, shout out to the container store. I love it. It's a little pricey, but I love it.
Yes, the container store.
Give us a discount code to share with our listeners.
Yes, we will share with our listeners.
So yes. Even though I am an introvert, I think that I am good with people.
Okay.
I typically make good judgment of people and their motives and their intentions enough to know when to give them the hand or to invite them in.
I think your intuition is excellent.
Yeah.
So let me.
Okay. So we can start with me.
Let me affirm some of these things.
Okay.
I'm learning.
Yes. Thank you for the words of affirmation in advance.
So I agree with you on those things. I think that you are detail oriented, and that does lend itself to being able to really focus in and get, the work done right the first time. Mm. Which is a thing. A thing to appreciate. Yes. Right the first time. I do think that you have great intuition as it comes to people. You read people very well, much better than me. So that is absolutely one. I would definitely agree with that. A couple that I think that you left out.
Okay.
Couple that I think that you left.
That's easy for me to do.
Right. So I think that you accumulate information better than anyone I know. You know, and maybe that's the researcher in you, that you can go out and you can process and pull the information together. And that is a skill in and of itself. I think that you are a tremendous communicator. You have very easily go into any room that you're in, and people immediately find you easy to talk to, which is what. And I don't know that you're saying very much.
I was going to say
them.
maybe the listening part of communication I have down pat.
Right. So, but
the active listening, I have that down pat.
you make a person talking to you feel like
I want to hear what they have to say.
What they have to say, even if you don't. So
9 times out of 10, I do. Okay, 7 times out of 10.
Okay, 7. Okay, 7. We'll go with 7. So I think those are considerable strengths to bring to any relationship. You know, not just ours, but any relationship. And I think that those are strengths of you, just in general. So
your strengths. Oh, we on your strengths?
Sure,
yet?
we're on my strengths. So
okay.
My strengths would be, I tend to be project oriented. Where she tends to be detail oriented, I tend to be project oriented.
More big picture and goal oriented.
So it's great that we do this thing, but how does this one thing fit into
the bigger picture?
Bigger picture of what all needs to be done. Mm-hmm. Because what good is it? And I said this to you before, to run a business that makes $700,000 if it's costing you $800,000 to run it. It's
you're in the red.
Doesn't even matter if you you can put on paper that, hey, our revenue is $700,000, but then you got to list some expenses.
Yes.
So it's great to be able to work on those projects, but you got to take those projects in relationship to those smaller projects. You got to take it in relationship to the
larger goal. Yep.
So I think that's one of my advantages.
I think so.
One of the things that I think of my strengths. I'm pretty good at interacting with people, but I don't read them well. But I can go into a room and immediately feel comfortable in that room and start to be engaging. It's a great story one time that when Yalonda and I think maybe one of the first times we went home to my house, and we went to a friend of mine's party. I can't remember what the party was for. That's not important. But it was just their family was getting together. And I took Yalonda and I took her in the room. I took her in the house. I said, hey guys, this is my girlfriend, Yalonda. And I introduced them to everybody, and then I moved
walked
on.
Away.
And I just moved on. So because I thought that everybody had
behaved the way you would, you come into a space and
because we come into spaces and we have gone to other people's parties. When one of Yolanda's roommates, her family would have cookouts periodically, and we would go to their cookouts. And by the time we left that cookout, people was calling me by name.
This is true.
Because we
you had inside jokes with people.
Inside jokes with the family. I just met these people.
Yes.
But we having a good time. We clicking. So I think
looking like you go way back.
Right. I mean, it wasn't just then. It was, when we went to graduate school, I took one class in Yolanda's building, and
then he was known forever.
Right. Connection is one of my strengths.
Yes.
I maintain connection.
Yes.
Some people if you don't call them and they don't call you, you start to let distance come between you. And I don't care how long it's been. I'll call you and I'll talk to you. And
he doesn't care if he's the one who calls every single time.
That doesn't matter to me. It does matter.
But it doesn't impede him from. Yeah. It would take a long time. Like, you have to not only not call, you have to not ever answer the phone or call back.
Because I need
to get
what
the message
from you, which is I need the
connection.
I need the connection. So connection is one of my strengths that help in our relationships.
Yes.
I will reach out and say, even after an argument, say, You want to have lunch, even when I'm mad about a dress. But we won't talk about that.
Mad about a dress. Wait a minute.
Even when I'm mad, I'll call. Even after I haven't talked to you, I will call eventually and say, do you want to go to lunch?
Yes.
So, all right. So weaknesses. I'm going to do my weaknesses.
Okay.
Okay. So my weaknesses are the opposite of all those things I just said are my strengths.
That's what I was going to say. My weaknesses are.
I can't do, the details sometimes get muddy for me. I'm thinking, we just go past that. We can get to this other stuff. This is the stuff that's important.
And sometimes.
And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm very wrong. So I don't always. I'm not always as considerate and thoughtful in my language. When I'm speaking to you or to anybody, I tend to be very curt and very matter of fact and very blatant. And it's not anger. It's not meanness. It's not any of those kinds of things. It's just direct. And people don't take direct communication very well.
Especially if it's direct and not positive. If it's direct and positive,
they take it as judgment.
Right,
we
which we talked about last week.
They take it as judgment, and it's not judgment. It's just the matter of the fact at that point, at least from the perspective of my perspective,
or the matter of your opinion.
Yeah. I did tell her in college one time. I told her opinion was wrong. I mean, just flat out. I said, your opinion is wrong. I don't even know what it was for.
Put in the comments what was wrong with that statement.
I don't know what I was talking specifically about.
I don't remember either, but I do remember okay, so my opinion is wrong.
It was wrong. I don't know. It was wrong.
So you're standing on that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm standing on business.
You're standing on that. My opinion was wrong.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
But if you thought it was wrong, then it probably was wrong.
But the point is, whether it was right or wrong, there was a way to say I don't agree with you without saying you're wrong. You can relay
especially because it's an opinion. So all you can do is agree or not agree. You can point out where the opinion is not borne up by the facts.
Okay.
You can do that. You can say, I think your opinion is not considering that, the sky is blue.
Okay.
Because that's a fact that we can agree on. And then I walk around saying, I don't know what I can say. The sky is green, or my opinion is that it's looking pretty green today. No. Right. So, yeah.
So, I left out a strength, which is I'm pretty good with the numbers.
Yes.
So in our house, I manage the money, and it's not with an iron hand. I don't think it's with an iron hand.
No, it's not with an iron hand at all. It's just, what needs to be taken care of in terms of the bills. You just do that. And I think over the length of our relationship, we've kind of switched back and forth. You've held that position for the longest now, recently. But there was a point in time where I was doing the bills.
Right. But you didn't want that job.
I mean, I didn't mind it. It's not my favorite job, no. I'm not domesticated, okay? Everybody's gonna find out that I'm not a great wife when we doing this podcast. I'm an excellent wife from a person-to-person standpoint, but it's a lot of stuff I don't like to do, like the laundry. But you love to do the laundry, so
right. I love to do the laundry. The laundry is my one of my stress relievers.
But see, you don't love to clean the bathrooms. So no. That's one of my stress relievers. It's to clean other things.
Yes.
Just not laundry. But anyway,
so
we were getting back to your strength is the numbers.
Yeah, my strength is the numbers.
Because I think it ties in with the bigger picture is that you can kind of track things in your head, where I need to track things on paper. And so that usually takes me more time, and, it's a whole spreadsheet, and, it's a whole, let me check back, let me make sure, double checking and triple checking. And whereas you are tracking these things in your head. We owe this much on this. Once we pay this, or once this interest rate does this, or, you're always kind of calculating those things in your head.
But the point of that is, so I'm sorry, I'll let you get to what do you think some of your weaknesses are? Because that was the other side of this.
Oh, okay. Some of my weaknesses are, the opposite of some of my strengths, in which case, I can get lost in the details sometimes and lose sight of the bigger picture, or just not focus enough on the bigger picture and really get bogged down in the details sometimes. And I think, that one of my strengths is my patience. Mm-hmm. I didn't say that. Very long suffering patience. But on the flip side of those strengths is that, I can let things fester for a little too long sometimes and not deal with them head on. In the moment sometimes, because I need that processing time. And I don't think processing time is necessarily a weakness, but in today's society where everything is moving, and you sometimes people who need the time to process, need to put things down on paper or in some kind of visual format, can feel like, I just don't have enough time to think it through. I just don't have enough time to make this decision. Yes, indecisiveness. It all ties together. Yes, it does take me a while to make a decision. I really like to weigh the pros and cons and make sure I'm not forgetting or ignoring any pro or any con. Make sure I have it all covered.
They made Amazon reviews for her.
Oh, yes.
She always
I don't buy
asks me
anything. Yes. If you buy something, I'm like, did you look at the reviews? And not just look at the stars. You can't just be like, oh, it's 4 stars, or it was 4.2 stars.
What did the 1 star say?
Right, you gotta look.
3-person stars.
Yes, you gotta at least look at the 3-person star. I don't really look at the 1-person stars, because those are just typically angry people who can't be satisfied. But the 3 stars, you gotta look at. And if 3 people say the same thing about the fabric falls apart, I'm going with that. I'm going with the fabric falls apart.
Even if there was 4,000 people who said this was great.
No. I have an algorithm in my head, okay? I know when to fold it and say, no, this is not the product. Move on.
There we go.
But I do pay attention to the reviews. And as part of being a researcher, I like to study things, look at them from multiple angles. So, yeah.
So we are running through these things. And one of the things we say in our book is, if you're in a relationship, you will be able to find yourself in this book. Meaning you'll be able to find attributes and traits that we talk about, that we have. You'll be able to find those things in this book. We've had couples who've come to us and say, they are more like me, or
one person is more like her, another person is more like me.
It has nothing to do with gender either, because it's been cross, male and female say these things. So
sometimes I think you're more like a woman and I'm more like a man, just in general.
You take it back.
I'll take it back.
Take it back.
It's nothing.
Take it back.
What's wrong with
Take
being
it
a
back.
woman? What's wrong with being one? I mean, some traits that have been typically ascribed to women, like connection, that's typically a trait of the female spouse in a relationship, that she's the one making the calls and making sure that, you know, grandma gets her card and all those things. And hey, why are you looking at me like that?
Take it back.
My explanation is not working.
Take it back.
Nobody's saying you're not manly. You're very manly. You're extremely manly.
Take it back.
You're like the manliest woman that I know. We're talking about gender roles here. We're flexible. We're a gender fluid relationship.
We are not. Wow, this is going.
Okay, I'm gonna rein it in. I'm sorry. All right.
This is going
in a place you're not ready to go. Okay, so anyway, the point is that some of our traits, you know, can be
traits are traits.
Traits are traits,
and you know who you assign them to, or who you think they get assigned to is irrelevant. The point is, our goal is to complement one another.
Right.
So,
to take our strengths and
build the relationship.
Build the relationship, complete the task, meet the goal.
Right.
You know,
you need,
do this room. Like what I painted, because I'm more detail oriented and I like to paint.
So it wasn't the details; it was the paint. She likes to paint, but she also
I was going to take the time to put the tape
and all those
things. Whereas you painted your DJ room downstairs with no tape.
I did not paint it with no tape.
Oh, you put tape up? Look at you, being like me.
She's over here accusing me of stuff.
Okay, so you put tape up. I'm sorry.
Yes. I got one spot on the ceiling that I
got a spot on the ceiling, so I can't even. And my spot is terrible because I tried to wipe it off.
So I didn't. I just said I'll get it next time.
It was a really big spot. Anyway.
So the point is, you have to figure out what you bring to the table. And I know people use that term kind of negatively these days, what you bring to the table, but don't think about it in terms of, you know,
like a transactional thing. It's not transactional.
It is, what can I do
complementary
to complement the person who I'm working with? What can I help? Where can I build them in the areas that they are weak that I'm actually strong?
Right. And if it's not the typical, like if you have in your head that something is supposed to be a man's job and something is supposed to be a woman's job, you got to get that out of your head, because, you know, maybe the person is just not good at it, man or woman. And you are the one who is good. So I'm going to, instead of being upset, like, oh, don't tell anybody that I don't like to do laundry. I don't like to do laundry.
And it's okay.
It is perfectly fine for me not to like to do. He likes to cook more than I like to cook. Well, the thing is, he likes to cook.
I like to eat.
She likes
to cook. And that's a difference.
That's true. I like to play around in the kitchen, experiment with things, new flavors, mixing stuff together.
She likes to cook.
And I'm more adventurous in terms of food. And once I have it once, sometimes I don't want it again. So if you make it a lot, then anyway, that's going down a whole path.
So I fix food to eat. She fix food for the adventure
of
fixing the food. So, you know, she's going to take
the fun and
she's
things.
Gonna have her recipe books open. She's gonna have her sifter and 3 or 4 measuring cups, and she's gonna have all that stuff laid out.
I have my ingredient that I've never used before.
I need to go to the international market so I can get this.
So I can get babe, stop by the international market and give me some habanero peppers.
Can you stop by the grocery store and pick up some milk? On the way home, I need some milk for the cereal that I'm cooking for dinner tonight.
Cereal.
That's what I need. So, but we don't hold each other down or we don't hold each other to negativity over the things that we
The other person
finds as weaknesses.
Right.
It does not mean that those things don't get on each other's nerves.
True.
It doesn't mean that those things don't grind against us, you know, because...
And that it wasn't a process to get here. We're
Correct.
here now, but, you know, that took some...
It took years.
Some years.
It took years.
It took some conversations with other people. You know, we have another chapter in there that I think that you wrote about, you know, marriage being about sacrifice. Sometimes it's about, people always say, you got to compromise, you got to compromise. Sometimes you got to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that another time.
We're going to go into that one next week.
Next week?
Let's talk about that one next week.
All right.
So, but as she's saying,
it took
time to learn to compliment one another, because, you know, everybody thinks or feels or can feel strongly about their position, you know, and about what should be and how it should be.
How things should be.
You know?
Or also sometimes you feel like if I can do it, you know, if I can manage time, fine. If I can remember stuff, I don't know how many times you had said to me, you know, if it was important enough to you, you would remember.
And I still believe that.
And so I've altered that phrase a little bit more for myself to say, if it's important enough, you'll do what it takes to set up reminders, set up systems so that you can't forget.
Right.
Set up, you know, I have alarms going off on my phone all the time. I used to have an alarm going off on my phone to pick up my child from school. Like, there's nothing more. I think that was the point at which I realized it has nothing to do with the importance for me. It's just that my brain gets caught up in whatever, you know, we talked about this last week. I'm in the moment, or previously, I'm in the moment. And so even if, you know, it's 2:45 and I know at 3:00, I got to go get them. Either I just stop what I'm doing right now at 2:45 and leave and be early, or, you know, because if I start something, 3:00 can come and I could totally miss it. So it's not that if it's important enough, you'll remember it. If it's important enough, you'll put systems into place to help you get it done.
Amen.
All right.
We can
agree on that.
We can agree on
yes.
that. We can agree on that.
Yes.
All right. So I don't know how much this has been helpful.
I don't know. Is there anything else we need to say?
I don't have anything else really to say. Not this week. It's late. So
I know it's late for us. We do this after our daughter goes to bed on a weekend night. So it's always just it's tough.
It's a very interesting.
You should see me on camera just before we actually the stuff we edited out, I should say, before we get to the discussion.
This is a live discussion. Trust me when I tell you that this is 100% a live discussion. Unscripted live discussion. So the take home point is understand what your strengths are.
Understand what your weaknesses are.
And figure out how you can complement the
each
person
other
who you are in a relationship with those things. And the other side of that, which I should have said, is as the person on the other side, trust that this person is working in your best interest. That, you know, because sometimes we don't allow people to work to their strengths because we don't trust them to work to their strengths. So
we don't trust them because they work differently from us.
Right.
Because they're going to approach it differently.
Right.
They're not going to do it in the timing we want them to do it or whatever. But if you have made the agreement between yourselves that, you know, this is the role I'm going to take, the other person is letting you do it the way that you need to get it done, as opposed to trying to dictate the way or be upset because it doesn't match how you would do it.
And it's a process.
It's a process. It's a process of setting yourself aside and really, I don't know. I mean, I think that's why the trust conversation was so important too, because you got to trust that you're on the same team. Like, we're really trying to get to the same goal.
Correct.
It's just that we're two different people from two different backgrounds with, two different sets of experiences, two different sets of skills and strengths and weaknesses. And it's going to look different when your spouse does it. But in the end, like, I was never the person who was going to be like, you're a very hands-on dad from day one. And I really had to pull myself back and also know when to say, okay, I need to speak about this. Because something is happening, something is getting lost, something is getting missed. So let me speak about it. But, I can't be micromanaging the way you parent our kids.
That's an entirely different, that's a whole show in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
That's a whole
but
show.
My point is just to say, to agree with you about trusting that the other person is going to
trust.
get it done. And that if they can't get it done or something is a problem, they're going to come to you.
Right.
And you have to be that person who does that.
You got to come.
Say, you know what?
I'm struggling here. I'm having some problems.
I'm struggling. I missed this. I let this slip. Oh, we got this late fee. I'm so sorry. I'm going to call. I'm going to try to make sure
that would be me.
That the late fee gets off.
I get a couple.
That's happened to me too.
I get a couple late fees a year. I get a couple late fees a year. So.
I missed this other deadline of getting this form in by such and such a time. Can you stop by the store and pick up the such and such? I know I just went to the grocery store, but I forgot X. And
yeah. So trust, and I guess the other thing I would say is trust and grace.
Grace. Oh my God.
Trust and grace. So
yes, give
trust
your partner grace,
and then give them some grace
for
the mistakes that they make. Sometimes.
When they make mistakes, because everybody is going to make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. Even if it's a mistake you couldn't see, I would never. That's the thing. Like that would never happen to me until it does. Right.
Until it happens to you.
Until you've been together almost 30 years, and then you say, "Oh." That's how that could happen.
Like that's how that happened. All right, some housekeeping. Thank you so much. We are going to make sure that we put this up on next week. We might be changing our time.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what's the best time to release.
Oh, okay. Yes. So
social media has some analytics and some suggestions for us.
But if you think of a good time, put it in the chat.
Yeah, what's the time that works for you?
Yeah, so we let's take our own personal poll.
Yes, if you're listening and you like what you hear and you want to know when the next episode is released, tell us, what's the best way for you to know. We release, announcements on IG, clips and things on IG and Facebook. We're suspended from TikTok for right now, so...
Yes, we on TikTok.
We gotta work on our TikTok anyway.
Yeah, we only got 6 followers on TikTok.
we gotta think. I think we gotta do more live stuff instead of recording.
You get to 1,000.
You can't just do a quick live, like an IG live.
You can't do it live until you get 1,000 followers.
Okay, so then we need to figure out other we can put clips of this there because there's no music.
Music is why we get suspended. Why we got suspended.
Because we love music.
Our last clip has some music.
I love music. Yeah. See, that was a mistake that C# made. He put it up there with the music, knowing that they don't like music, taking a chance. Maybe they will let this one go.
Or even if they would just say, you can't put this one up. That's what I thought they would say.
And they would just keep telling him, take this down, take this down,
and take this down. Every time they tell me it's a problem, I take it down.
We're not going to tell you no more.
I'm tired of telling you it's a problem. You're suspended. But I came right to her and said,
they suspended us on TikTok.
So, all right. Sunday nights.
Yes.
We're on Heartbeats.
In the basement.
With DJ C# and Yo-Yo Baby.
Yo-Yo Baby.
Right on twitch.tv/DJ C#. We're on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The music is always good. The conversation is wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy.
Well,
not too wild.
It's not too wild and crazy. It's just we like to have fun.
If the tenderloin comes into play, you just never know. Sorry, inside joke.
We might roll through the tenderloin at any point.
Roll through the tenderloin. So that's an inside joke.
Yes,
if you come on Sunday nights, you'll learn what the tenderloin is. Shout out to one of my coworkers at my real job.
Yes, his 9 to 5.
Who gave us a great. His name is Wainwright, and he gave us, because we've been asking people to tell us how we can end our podcasts, and he came up with what I think is a solid phrase that we can start to use as our sign off.
Our closing sign off,
which is, we found our rhythm. Let's find yours.
What y'all think?
What y'all think? I think that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to tell you a second one. Another friend of ours, Hope, heard what you said last week, which was live by the rhythm, love by the rhythm. Live by the rhythm, love by the rhythm. And she said we should put them together.
We should say all of those things.
We should say all of those things. We found our rhythm. Let's find yours. So you can live by the rhythm and love by the rhythm.
Is that what her suggestion was?
That was her suggestion.
So you can live by the rhythm and love by the rhythm? She didn't say really how to put them together, right, but she said put them together. Okay.
So we're going to work on it.
Can we find an instrumental of Rhythm of Love?
I already have an instrumental of that.
Yeah, we could put a little... I know. Well, music gets us in trouble. Maybe not. I was going to say we could just put the instrumental, just that portion. Just not even 5 seconds.
Good luck with that. Shout out to Wainwright, who submitted what I consider to be a very good closing sign-off phrase that we work with. So, we appreciate you. So, we found our rhythm.
Now it's time to find yours.
Good night, and thank you.
Live by the rhythm. Sorry. And you must love by the rhythm.
Exactly. We hope you've enjoyed another exciting episode of Rhythm of Love, the podcast, hosted by Clarence and Yalonda Lewis.
Theme song by Kendra R.
Graphics by Rihanna Denise.
More information is available at cyllentertainment.com.
Please join us on Sunday nights for our live stream on twitch.tv/DJC Sharp.